There are certain qualities an average looking man can have that allows him to massively stand out and attract way more women. You've probably seen it before. You look at a guy and you're like, how the hell did he get a girl like that? And no, I'm not talking about having money either. What makes him do so much better comes down to three critical things. And this is actually in part backed up with science. So to start, I want you to think about David Spade, of all people, first. He's 5'5", average looking, has dated a lot of women that were a lot younger than him, that actually had money, so they weren't in it for it either. So what's different about him? Well, if you go watch him talk, you'll notice he has this chill, nonchalant, confident pop. I guess you could call it swagger, but that takes a lot of different forms. Like a high level, though fictional, example of this is Daemon Targaryen from House of Cards. He's not a good looking dude, but he has the presence that lures women in. Now, the average guys don't necessarily have this, but they have the capability to turn women on. This means having the balls to actually make a move, to being direct, go after what you want, make her feel protected, make her feel feminine. So this isn't about being an alpha, but if you were to picture one and then remove the typical loud, obnoxious aspects of one, those qualities and traits that remain is what is important. Now, the next point is quick, and it's about their appearance. And while they are average looking, they do still put at least some effort into it. Like if you were to picture an average looking guy that is reasonably fit, maybe doesn't have the nicest clothes, but they do fit well, and he doesn't let his hair get too long, and he's at least somewhat confident to actually go out and talk to a woman. Like, I promise you, that is enough. Now, I know a lot of guys are well overweight or they're well underweight, but if you can target an FFMI score of around 20, that's a pretty good starting point. And that's just the total amount of muscle mass you have relative to your height. But now last, I'm going to talk about what really makes them in the long term stand out, and why women end up sticking around with them and not others. Essentially, this is the greenest of flags that move the needle the most. I'll put the links to the studies in the description if you care, but the first is earning capacity. You don't actually have to be rich, but you have to show that you likely will have the means to provide. So it's more future oriented. Next is kindness and trustworthiness, which makes sense that they'd be wired to want to find somebody with those traits if they were to end up raising a child with. But the biggest mistake that I see so many guys make is acting insecure or jealous. It's okay if you feel this way sometimes. It's hard to stop those emotions. But if you tell her that she can't do this or that and just limit her freedom, even if you have good reason, it will backfire. Plus, if something were to happen, I mean, you're really just dodging a bullet. You're just finding out something about her that you didn't know previously, and it's just better to know that she's capable of that now than months or years down the line. But now, these videos kind of feel weird to make sometimes, because being analytical about women and dating is like literally the opposite thing that I want to preach. But I do think it's of value to some, so let me know if it's of any use. But as I was going through some of these studies, making sure I could actually back up my claims, I found something of mild interest. Several studies have shown that women near the ovulation stage of their menstrual cycle tend to exhibit a greater preference for men who advertise social dominance and masculinity. Now, that's not all that surprising, but I think for a lot of guys, it's good to be reminded of. Like, women are wired for manly men, yet testosterone rates are dropping everywhere. So there's an opportunity. Get your ass to the gym. And it's fine if you're, a quiet guy, if you're even sensitive. That's not what this is about. This is about just being assertive, to man up, to have the balls when you actually need them. But anyway, see you next week.